Imagine waking up in the middle of the night and finding your wife's body floating in the air, not drifting, not hovering gently, slamming over and over again into the bathroom wall like something is throwing her, something you cannot see. That's the first 5 minutes of terrified, and it does not let up. We're in Buenos Aires, Argentina, a quiet residential street, the kind of neighborhood where you know your neighbors, argue over parking, wave good morning. Normal, boring, safe. Except, it isn't. Meet Clara, a regular woman living in a regular house with her husband, Juan. One day, Clara is standing at the kitchen sink, just doing the dishes, when she hears something. Voices, coming from the drain. Not the muffled sounds of pipes or water pressure. Voices, whispering, discussing. And what they're discussing? Her death. She tells Juan. And Juan, our skeptical, loving, completely unprepared husband, does what every rational person does. He tells her she's hearing things. Probably the noisy neighbor Walter next door. Classic Juan. But little did he know. Clara wasn't wrong. That night, Juan is woken up by a sound, thumping, rhythmic, coming from the bathroom. He gets up, opens the door, and there she is, Clara, dead. Her body suspended in the air and slamming against the wall like a rag doll being hurled by something enormous and invisible. Juan screams. We scream. And the movie has barely started. Here's where things get complicated, because it isn't just Juan's house. This whole street is wrong. Next door lives Walter, middle-aged guy. Keeps to himself. Has a problem sleeping. You'd have trouble sleeping too if every night your furniture moved on its own. Walter is smart enough to set up a video camera, because of course you want evidence when your bed starts shaking at 3 a.m. He reviews the footage, and oh no. There it is, a tall, naked figure crawling out from underneath his bed, standing over him while he sleeps, just watching, then slipping into the wardrobe when Walter stirs. Walter, to his credit, doesn't just run. He goes to investigate the wardrobe himself. Do not go to the wardrobe, Walter. He goes to the wardrobe. Something grabs him from behind. Walter disappears. His house sits empty. His camera footage remains. And across the street, we've got another tragedy unfolding. Alicia is grieving. Her young son was hit by a bus outside, right in front of these very houses. She's barely holding herself together. Her ex-boyfriend is a police commissioner named Funes. He's a cop who's seen his share of bad things, but he doesn't know what to do with this. So Funes makes a call. He brings in Jano, a paranormal investigator, former coroner. A man who's been in the business of the unexplained long enough to not dismiss anything. Jano arrives at Alicia's house, and the dead boy is sitting at the kitchen table, mud on his shoes, a trail of footprints leading from the cemetery. The child, pale, still, utterly wrong, is just sitting there. Jano and Funes don't know what to do. You can't call this in. You can't file a report. After an agonizing back and forth, they move the body. Put it in an outside freezer. Then they stand there in the dark, two grown men who just carried a dead child across a yard, and they know that something is deeply, fundamentally broken about this street. Stay with me here, because what's coming next is when the investigators arrive, and one by one they start to die. I'll tell you how in a moment, but first, let me tell you what this street actually is. Jano crosses paths with Dr. Maura Albrecht, another paranormal researcher. Sharp, composed, but shaken. She'd been invited to the street by Walter himself, after he sent her the camera footage. But Walter is gone, so Maura, Jano, and a third researcher, Rosentalk, a specialist in supernatural phenomena, regroup, and make a decision. They visit Juan. He's been locked in a psychiatric facility, the prime suspect in his wife's murder. Can you imagine? Your wife dies in an impossible way. You're the only witness, and the world decides you must be the killer. Juan is broken, terrified. But when these three walk in and say we believe you, he lets them in, tells them everything. They go back to the street. The investigators split up, one house each. Funes teams with Rosentalk at Walter's empty house. Dr. Albrecht works alongside the others. And here's where Mora and Rosentalk land on a theory that makes everything click into horrifying place. This neighborhood is a gateway, a dimensional threshold, a place where the wall between our world and somewhere else, somewhere dark, has worn thin. And the entities that come through? They travel through water, like bacteria moving through a host. The sink, the drain, the pipes running through every wall of every house on this street. Clara heard the voices because they were already inside the plumbing. Already inside the house, already planning. This is where everything changes. The investigators begin to experience things. Not just strange sounds or moving furniture. The entities act. And one by one, the researchers die. Grotesquely. Inexplicably. We won't get every detail on screen. The movie is smart enough to leave gaps. But the message is clear. These things are not interested in being studied. They are hostile, intelligent, and they have been here a long time. Funes, the cop, the man of the physical world, is watching his colleagues fall apart around him. He's not equipped for this. No one is. And he makes the only decision that makes any sense. Run. He gets out. Barely. But then his radio crackles. Another officer has something. A lead. Information. And Funes, against every survival instinct he has, turns back. He arrives with gasoline. He burns all three houses to the ground. Standing in the orange glow of the fire, watching the structures collapse, Funes thinks, maybe it's over. Maybe the gateway is closed. You already know that's not how this ends. Back at the psychiatric facility, police officers sit across from Juan trying to question him again. He's distant, staring past them. And then Juan's eyes lock onto something. Behind the officers, a tall figure, burned. Barely recognizable, but familiar. It looks like Rosentalk. One of the investigators, one of the dead. The officers turn around. Nothing there, just an empty chair. And then, the chair launches itself at the camera. Cut to black. Terrified doesn't wrap things up neatly. It doesn't explain the rules, give you a ritual, hand you a final boss to defeat. The entities are still out there. The gateway might still be open. And whatever came through, it followed the investigators home. This is one of the most genuinely unsettling horror films of the last decade. And honestly, a lot of that comes from what it doesn't show you. The drain, the water, the tall figure standing over you while you sleep. Check under your bed tonight. Or don't.